I don't know why that online keeps shutting off. That's strange. It never did that before. It never did that before. All kinds of strange stuff. Well, at least we got the microphone working tonight. Discovered what the major malfunction was with this thing. Dirty connection. I think. It was up here in this USB plug. I don't know. I don't know. It's all your fault. $7:01. Coming up on 7:02. Maybe we won't have nobody tonight. People are eating the Easter bunny. A lot of Hassenpfeffer today. Yeah. A lot of Hassenpfeffer today. People eating the Easter bunny. Because he dares show himself. Like they say, it tastes like chicken. I don't care. Next thing they'll be saying, oh, chicken, it tastes like rabbit. Everything tastes like chicken. Well, if nobody shows up tonight, it'll be a short show. 7:03. We don't get nobody by 7:05. We'll hit the music. And I'll play something different tonight. Everybody probably sitting around with their family around the dinner table. Big fancy spread. Nice big Easter ham on the table. Green bean casserole. Sweet potatoes. All the stuff I miss. All that good food. My grandmother would be up at like 4 in the morning, starting to cook. All that good homemade food. Oh, God. I miss all that good homemade food. No more traditions. The traditions went out the window. It's sad. from the WDWL TV multiplex, live from the Red Studio. With great anticipation, we bring you the pride of the station, the grumpy old man, and the grumpy vulture. Would you like to take a bow? Take your bow. Make sure the banner's up. Banner up. That's it. Banner up. Take your bow. Oh, good. And you bowed with the banner back up. Okay. Keep it straight. Back in the spotlight. Look at the camera. Keep the banner straight. There we go. Move this out of the way. Greetings, friends. And happy Easter to everybody. At Grumpy's house, it was just Easter. No happy. Yeah, goddamn Easter Bunny just bypassed me. No candy. Nope. No, Grumpy buys his candy either tomorrow or Tuesday. Tomorrow they'll mark it down like 25%. And then Tuesday they'll mark it down 50%. And whatever isn't sold by Wednesday, they'll mark it down 75%. That's when I buy my candy. Although, by the time I get there, it's all picked over. Although, yeah, candy bars aren't like what they used to be. You know, you buy the bag of the miniatures, and the miniatures, you get one bite. That's it. And the bags aren't as full anymore either. So in order for me to really get a taste of candy, I gotta buy 4 or 5 bags. You know, it's sad, the price of candy. Oh my God. And the candy bars have shrunk. You know, back in the day, you got a candy bar for like, 50 cents. Now the candy bar's about this big and it's $3.50. And it'll be going up because there'll be a tariff on chocolate. So a $3 candy bar in about 6 months will be a $5 candy bar. Kids can't even enjoy to eat candy today. I was utterly shocked. I don't pay attention to candy that much. And last Easter, I go in, and like the solid chocolate bunnies, they're about this big now. 3 bites and they're gone. But I'll be up at Family Dollar. I'll be up there tomorrow. And if the price isn't reduced enough, I'll be up there Tuesday. Although last year they didn't take it down as cheap as I was hoping. Usually by Wednesday, it's marked down by like 75%. Not last year. And the shit candy Oh, there was probably 50, 60 pounds of jelly beans. Grumpy don't eat jelly beans. I'll see what they got. I've noticed another thing. For Easter, a lot of the candy doesn't have the Easter label on it. So they don't have to mark it down. I noticed that last year with the like Kit Kats and Milky Ways and no Easter bunny on the. Now they will have certain Easter candy, but most of that will be so picked over. But I'll pop up and see what they've got. I'll get something. But I noticed last year a lot of the bag candy did not have the Easter on it or Easter bunny or anything Easter. Because that way they can just keep it on the rack. There was probably I would say maybe 6 different types of solid chocolate, like a solid chocolate Easter egg or bunny or matter of fact, I got a better deal on Easter candy at Dollar Tree last year. Most of the candy was marked 50 cents. So I stocked up. But most of the shit, 2 bites and it's gone. Not like years ago, man. Solid chocolate Easter bunnies like this big. You don't see that. Chocolate is too expensive. I can remember my grandparents. They would buy a solid chocolate bunny. It would be like that big. And I mean solid chocolate. Take it in the kitchen and whack it with a hammer, break it into pieces. Not anymore. And the disgusting ones are the hollow. Those are the foolers. You pick it up and you're like, oh, yeah. A hollow chocolate Easter bunny. 2 bites and it's gone. I'll go up and see. I can remember Grandma would go down to the West Side Market to the candy stand where everything was all handmade. She would put in an order. There'd be solid Easter eggs, all solid chocolate bunnies. I can't remember the stand, most of those stands are all gone now, but I remember that they would make the candy to order. And their chocolate was to die for. I can't remember. All I know is this chocolate was so rich that if you held it in your hand, it would fucking melt. Oh, it was luscious. Those are the days. And then Grandma would be up like 4 in the morning on Easter Sunday making food. A big ham. My grandfather would buy a big ham. And of course, we had good, authentic Hungarian sausage. Two different types. There'd be one would be fresh and one would be smoked. Green bean casserole, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, red cabbage. Oh, God, my grandmother could make red cabbage to die for. Oh, my God. I remember, God, she'd make a pan about this big. I haven't had red cabbage in ages. And the stuff in the jar. And my grandfather would grind his own horseradish. Oh man, horseradish today is nothing like the shit that he would. He'd be crying, Grandma'd be crying, they'd be cranking that hand grinder. And then she would cook up beets and mix beets and horseradish together. So we had regular horseradish, we had the beets and horseradish. Oh, the food, oh, the spread that she would put on for Easter. Well, any holiday. My grandmother loved to cook because she loved seeing the look on everybody's faces at the table while they were eating. Every holiday, we went to my grandparents' house. Every single holiday. I'm trying to think Christmas. I think my grandfather would get a little piglet. My grandma, the old apple in the mouth. Absolute, oh God. I miss those days. Oh, do I miss those days. But there's no tradition anymore. I mean, I look around the neighborhood and I remember, growing up, there wouldn't be a parking space on the street. Everybody had relatives over. Now it's, my neighbor was out cutting his fucking lawn. Easter Sunday, you didn't do nothing. Now it's just another Sunday. Just another Sunday. My friends call me this morning, Happy Easter. It's like, oh, yeah. And her and her husband admitted, they weren't doing nothing today. Just a normal Sunday dinner for them. It's sad because kids nowadays, they really don't know what they're missing. The old world tradition, they're all gone. Kids today don't want to eat that food. It's just plain sad. It's just plain sad that the old world traditions are gone. Kids today, they could care less. You know, it's like St. Patrick's Day. All they're interested in is drinking. I was interested in a big corned beef sandwich, or sit down to a nice corned beef and cabbage dinner. Although who the hell can afford goddamn corned beef? God, last, not this year, I didn't pay any attention. Last year, a little piece of corned beef like this was like $20. And with corned beef, it shrinks. So when you get done cooking it, you got about enough for a sandwich. You know. That was about the only thing my mother could cook fairly decent, was corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. Although, big deal. You dump it in the pan. You wait until, it's about halfway done. You throw in the potatoes, you throw in the cabbage. Not a hard meal to cook. Although my mother, she could burn boiling water. Oh, she would. Thank God she's not around to hear me. But she was a lousy cook. How my father put up with that, because he grew up with my grandmother, home cooking, and my grandmother, she had certain days she would bake during the week, and fresh baked bread and rolls, and my mother couldn't make jiffy cornbread out of a box. We had very bland meals. And she really didn't care, for going over to my grandparents for the holidays, because we had food that tastes like food. My grandmother, she'd make things a little on the spicy side. You wanted food that tasted like food, not like cardboard. If I wanted to have cardboard, I'd go out and get a cardboard box and eat it. There was one thing. I wish I knew how my grandmother made it. She made something called summer squash. And it was a combination of green zucchini and yellow zucchini. And she made it in like a cream sauce. And I always remember when she would bring it over, she would reheat it, and then it had to be at a certain temperature, and she would add sour cream at that point. And oh my God, was it delicious! And I have no idea how she made it. And I mentioned it to people, and they're like, summer squash. I said, well, it was zucchini in like a cream sauce. Huh? I can't find a recipe for it. I wish I knew how she made it. It was like simple, the two kinds of zucchini, and I know she would put some onions in it. It was in a cream sauce with dill. It was to die for. And nobody knows how the hell to make it. Although now, if I'd have paid attention, the only thing I paid attention to was when she would make garlic dill pickles in a crock. I stood by her and wrote it down. And I used to make them. Make my own garlic dill pickles. And then somebody stole my fucking crock. I could have got one, go out in Amish country. But it's although I'll tell you what, everybody used to say I was sick. When the pickles were done, put them in a jar, put them in the fridge, and any of the pickle juice, the brine that was left over, I'd take a little belt of it every morning. Oh, God, pickle juice was delicious. But that's a tradition that's down the sewer. Like I say, I never really paid attention. And then when I realized that I wasn't going to learn, it was too late because Grandma was ailing. She couldn't really cook much anymore. And she never wrote anything down. It was taught to her by her grandmother. It was basically her grandmother taught her mother, and then her mother taught her, and it was a tradition. Recipes were just passed down, and it would be like a fistful of this, a teacup of that. Yeah. Never measure anything. Hold out her hand. Yeah, it looks like enough. When I was making pickles, I was like, come on, Grandma. How much is this? Pour it in a measuring cup for me. Everything was by eye. But, good food. Oh, my God, good food. Yeah, there would be. Easter Sunday, we'd show up at the house. She'd have that big ham on a platter in the middle of the table. And then a platter of Hungarian sausage. Big bowl of sweet potatoes. Big bowl of mashed potatoes. Big bowl of red cabbage. And my grandfather would bring out the horseradish. Just opening the jar, your eyes would water. And you had to have some. Everybody had to have a little horseradish. That was him. You got to at least try it. I'll never forget the first time my little sister takes a big forkful. Whoa! Everybody laughed their ass off. No, it was my middle sister. My little sister, Grandpa had passed away. She never knew who he was. But he would grind his own horseradish. And Grandma, she'd be talking over the dinner table saying how they're both going through towels. They were crying so much grinding that shit. But it was good. Oh, good and strong. Holy shit. And then he made the beet radish. I have a jar of beet radish in the refrigerator. You know, I had to. It don't taste nothing like what they, ground themselves. And red cabbage. The stuff in the jar isn't even close. Isn't even close. Matter of fact, I'll have to look. A lot of places don't even carry it. I'll have to look, see if I can get a jar of red cabbage just to have some. But yeah, the old holiday traditions just. I remember Saturday afternoons. You would take a small amount of food, like everything, like ham, Easter bread, whatever you were having for dinner. You had a small amount in a basket. You go up to church and have it blessed. That was always a big thing with my grandmother, Gotta have it. Because the church would have the blessing of the baskets. And then Easter Sunday, that was the first items that were out on the table. That had to be eaten right away. You don't waste blessed food. But she would have maybe like 6 slices of ham, some small pieces of sausage, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, hard-boiled eggs. Then she'd go up to the church, get the basket blessed. Good old St. Wendellin's, right there at 25th Street. I don't even know if they still have that tradition going. Yeah, people would come in droves with their baskets of food. The priest had come out and bless everybody's. He would always comment, oh, the church smells so good today, There'd be 60 people standing around with baskets of food. My grandmother would, Easter bread. She would bake her own, you didn't buy anything from the store. She made her own poppy seed rolls, her own nut rolls, Easter bread. My grandfather, he'd go down the market, make sure he gets some nice fresh butter, No butter and sticks. I can still remember going to the market and there'd be like a 50-pound block of butter. And, of course, when you're doing it day after day after day, you tell the girl, here, give me a pound of salted butter and a pound of unsalted. And she'd take a big knife, whack, whack, put it on the scale. God damn if it wouldn't be almost dead on a pound. But you know, they were doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, all day long. You know by eye, after a while, cutting that big block of butter. One day I'm going to have to go down to the market and just see if any of that stuff is still around anymore. Although I read an article the other day that, like the fresh, fruit and vegetable vendors, only 50% of the stalls are rented. I can remember you'd walk from one end of the market to the other. Nobody wants old world. Although kids nowadays don't know that shit. All they know is, go to the grocery store and here, this is packaged, that's packaged. If they grew up like I did around the market, they know what they were missing today. And the smoky stand, oh God. Man, I got spoiled going down there. Oh, Jesus. Everybody always had a free sample for me. My grandfather, and every Saturday it was the same. We'd walk up to a stand. How you doing, Joe? Doing all right. Hey, by the way, I got my grandson. And the show that they would put on, really? They'd look over they'd call all the employees out. Look, Joe's got his grandson. Here, have some Smokies. Here, have some cookies. Here, have some of this. Hey, you want a side of beef? That's a little heavy for me to carry. That's all right. We'll put it in the car for you. The good old days. Yeah, the fun. I miss those days. I miss the Smokies. Oh, Jesus. I go out of there with probably 5 pounds. He'd give me a handful and say, if you want more, where to. My grandfather would be bullshitting with somebody. I'll be right back, Grandpa. I go over to the Smoky stand. You want more? Please? Here. Thank you. Eat half of them on the way home. Yeah, it was every Saturday, a big production. Like the first time I ever walked in the market. They'd always put on a show, every stand. God, that was fun. Oh, Jesus. I miss those days. Oh, man, you grow up too fast. You get old too soon. Well, it don't look like anybody's gonna join me tonight. Like the old days, just me and the bird. I don't know, it keeps saying YouTube says 1, but nobody's showing up. Yeah. It says 1 on YouTube. Evidently somebody's watching, but they're not going in the chat. That must be. I have one person live watching, I guess. And no people live watching. Yeah, as soon as I noticed them, they were gone. 000. Somebody was just looking in, I guess. Well, if nobody shows up, we'll make it a short show tonight. I won't be doing no 2 hours tonight. Not talking to myself. Yeah, evidently when somebody signs in, somebody pops in for a look, it shows a watcher. And whoever the watcher was, I scared him away. Yeah, it was funny. I no sooner said, oh, look, I've got a watcher, but gone. I got 2 likes on YouTube and 1 like on Faceplant. But no liveys. So, if nobody pops in the chat, Grumpy will make it a short show tonight. Because my back is killing me today. Goddamn medication wears off too fast. Yeah. The good old traditions are just gone. I know, I keep repeating myself, but it's sad. It's sad that kids today have no idea what it was like back in the 50s and 60s growing up. Although it was a more family-oriented society. And almost everybody I knew went to their grandparents' house because their grandparents put on a big feast because they grew up that way. Nowadays, kids are eating, packaged ham, packaged this, pre-made that. They have no idea what authentic old world foods tasted like. Big deal. It says authentic old world food on a label. How the hell do they know? I know. I tried some of that authentic stuff. It ain't authentic. The only thing authentic is the word. There would be. I know, some of the neighbors. There would be 30, 40 people, kids would be eating in the basement on card tables, and they'd have a card table set up in the living room and the kitchen, but to accommodate all the relatives that would show up for holiday dinner. Not anymore. God, I'm going to keep saying it over and over. I miss that. I miss that. Of course, those were the days when foods were made from scratch. And it was made with pride. Traditions were passed down from one generation to another. And talking with friends, it kind of somewhere got lost after the boomer generation. I don't know why after the boomer generation, the next generation just, it got less and less and less, and now it's just a memory. You sit around and tell kids, oh man, you should have seen the feast on the table, They look at you like you're speaking a foreign language. They just do not realize losing those traditions is sad because when people immigrated here, they brought their traditions with them and they passed it down from generation to generation. And like I say, after the boomer generation, my generation, I don't know what happened. There was a cutoff. Like the kids that we had didn't want to be bothered with that. And then what would be like my grandkids, unless you keep the tradition going, it's lost. And it seemed to get lost after my generation. I don't know what happened. Although I do know somewhat because my kid didn't want to eat that food. Didn't appreciate it. So, nobody wants to eat it. You don't bother. For a while, I tried to carry on. I would get myself a small little, I get a canned ham and cheese. But I would go out and make a trip out to Bedford to Kaiser Meats and get my good Hungarian sausage. I enjoyed it. But then after a while, I just gave up because I was the only one eating it. And actually, it's too much work. Well, for one person, what am I going to do? Make a big feast for one? I tried to keep it going, but I finally gave up. But one day I'm going to take a ride out to Kaiser's, get some good, authentic Hungarian sausage, then maybe swing by the market and see what's still there tradition-wise. I would hope the butter stand is still there. I mean, just to see that big, giant block of butter sitting there. That was a show all on its own. That girl, she'd take out that big fucking knife, whack, whack, put it on the scale. You'd look, 1 pound, like 1 ounce. I was like, how could you do that? Of course, you get the answer. Well, I'm doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 8 hours a day. She used to tell everybody I could do it with my eyes closed. And they could. Like I say, if you do it, well, happy Easter there, friend. I was just getting ready to say another 8 minutes, I'm going to sign off. Talking to myself about Easter tradition, making myself sad. Sitting here expounding about how we would go to my grandparents' house for Easter. My grandmother put on a spread. Ham. Mashed potatoes. Sweet potatoes. Green beans. Not green bean casserole. Green beans. Red cabbage. You say red cabbage, the kids today are like, what? She'd make a big goddamn pan of it from scratch. My grandfather, he would grind his own horseradish. He'd open that jar. God, you'd cry just, tell him, hey, move that to the other side of the table, will you? And then my grandmother would take cooked beets and make some beets and horseradish. Always had to have that for Easter. Make her own Easter bread. God, I miss that red cabbage. Oh my God. Yeah, there'd be a big ham, big pile of Hungarian sausage, big bowl of mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, cooked green beans. Oh yeah, my grandparents, they would grind their own. My grandfather would come home with that big horseradish hand grinder. My grandmother would always tell us, "Oh, your grandfather and I went through towels. We cried so much." Yeah, man, that shit was strong. Holy shit! You didn't go eat no big spoonful of that. I mean, like right now, I have 2 jars of horseradish in the fridge because I like horseradish. But the shit today, I could eat it by the spoon. Ain't no strength to it. It's so goddamn watered down. I got bad ham here. Yeah. Oh yeah. After after Easter dinner, my grandfather would carve down the rest of the ham so you could take slices home. Then make yourself a ham sandwich, put some horseradish on it. Oh man. And she'd bake Easter bread and rolls, everything from scratch. She'd get up like 4 o'clock on Sunday, Easter Sunday morning, to make sure the dinner was ready by noon. As a matter of fact, no, she would do it on Saturday. because blessing of the baskets was always like around 5 o'clock Saturday evening. And she'd take a little bit of everything and put it in a basket and then walk up to church with it. And then the priest would come out and bless the baskets. And then she'd make sure everything was all warm for Sunday dinner. But she would put that platter out on the table with the blessed food, and we had to eat that first. And there was, maybe she'd have like 3-4 slices of ham and the little pieces of kibasi and a little bit of everything so that she could get it blessed. But everything was from scratch. The rolls, she would bake a loaf of white bread. She would bake the Easter bread, poppy seed roll, nut roll. Yeah, Easter Saturday, she'd be a baking fool. And then everything went back in the oven first thing in the morning on Sunday, so that it was nice and hot. She used to make something. She called it summer squash. And it was green zucchini, yellow zucchini. She made it in a cream sauce with dill. And then she would bring it over and warm it up on the stove and then add sour cream. And I'll be goddamn if I can figure out how she made it, because I cannot find a recipe for zucchini made in a cream sauce with dill. And she used to just call it summer squash. Oh my God, I ate that stuff by the bucketful. Everything back in the day was made from scratch. Everything. My grandma, oh my God. If you Oh, Kathy, it was heavenly. And I don't know how she made it. I have looked online. I cannot find any kind of recipe for squash done in a white cream sauce. It was, oh my God. She would make it in a big goddamn pan. Because it didn't last. Everybody was like, whoa, they needed bowls full like soup, All I remember is 2 kinds of squash in a cream sauce with dill. She would make it like the day before. And then she would reheat it. And then she would add sour cream. And it was to die for. And when I mention it to people, they're like, squash and cream sauce? Another thing she used to make, creamed onions. I mention it to people till they're like, bleh. She'd make creamed onions. She'd get them little, like cocktail onions at the West Side Market. How she made that, I don't know. But between the squash and the creamed onions, oh my God. I miss that stuff so much. And you you can't find a recipe for it. Nobody knows how to make it. I don't know if it was a Slovenian tradition or what. And I never paid attention how she made it. Like when she'd make the garlic dills in a crock. I made them for years until somebody stole my fucking crock. But as far as the squash and the creamed onions, I was never around when she made that stuff. And you just can't find it today. Oh, I mean, I could go to the market and get a jar of red cabbage. It don't taste nothing like Grandma made. Same thing with the horseradish. I've got a jar of each in the fridge. You open the jar, the stuff my grandfather made, you open the jar, Jesus Christ, your eyes would be watering just. But Easter Saturday, they'd be grinding that horseradish. No, never. Oh my God, those sound tasty. Now, you hear the echo? All of a sudden, I don't know why it does this. It did it yesterday too. After a while, it echoes. Let me see something once. Let me turn this. I don't think that's what's causing it. I don't think that's what's causing it. Let me turn the headphones down. They shouldn't be picking up. But all of a sudden it goes into an echo, like I'm talking in a garbage can. Butter, brown sugar, cottage cheese. Oh my God. I've never had them. God, they sound outstanding. I could probably eat a bucket full. Oh man. Oh, well, a lot of good that does me. I ain't never going to be able to taste any. Did you make any today? Did one of your daughters make a feast and invite you over, Mom? I figured when nobody was showing up, everybody was having a feast today. I'd sitting there talking to the bird. And then it was hilarious. Somebody popped in. And evidently as soon as somebody pops in, even just to watch, it pops a number. And I went, oh, look, I've got a listener. And then next thing you know, they went, look, I'm out of here. Oh, you cooked? Do either one of your daughters pay attention, learning the traditions? I know I kind of determined after my generation, like it would be like my son, and then if he was married, you know, the next generation, it got lost with my son because he didn't want anything to do with the traditions. None of that food, none of that bullshit. So all the good traditions stopped, like with me. I know once my grandparents passed, the Easter dinners weren't the same. I mean, we had the food, but like the Easter bread, ordered that from the bakery at, Huff Bakery, or order the rolls from Huff Bakery. Of course, my mother, she could burn boiling water. Not to mention, was she a bland cook? Oh, Jesus Christ. She never liked going to my grandparents for a holiday because they cooked with spices. Food had taste and flavor. Everything my mother made tasted like cardboard. How my father married her, I remember, she couldn't cook. Oh, Jesus. Especially, coming from a household where my grandmother made everything from scratch. Well, that's good, Kathy. At least the tradition will go on a little more. Me, Easter Bunny bypassed me. I get no invites. So, no big deal. It's just another Sunday. I stopped, I stopped celebrating holidays years ago. Everybody's like, oh, you're a heathen. That's right. Why bother? I miss it, but at least I got good memories. I got wonderful memories. I can still see the look of pride on my grandmother's face when we all sat down to dinner. Because she could set a table. And she knew we were all going to enjoy that meal 1,000%. And all of her hard work paid off. Because she saw the look on everybody's faces. There was There was nothing on that table that wasn't made from scratch. Aren't they the same way with Christmas? Everything is always a week later. I think Christmas is the same way. Yeah, I thought so. Because that's like one of the guys I went to school with. They were Greek. Oh my God. I'll never forget the first time I had stuffed grape leaves. I was in heaven. Oh, yeah. That's the way it was. Everything was done, from the heart. And like I say, when she put that spread on the table, just the look on her face, like, I did this for you. And oh, did we eat? And the sad thing is, I have yet to have any authentic food that tastes like what she made. Like, go to the store and buy a poppy seed roll or a nut roll. It don't taste anything like what she made. They're good, but not like Grandma made. And I'll tell you what, I can't even afford a poppy seed roll. Prices are like $20 for. Matter of fact, I didn't even see any in the store this year. I didn't even see any in the store this year. Poppy seed rolls, nut rolls. I think the same shit happened with the bakery that happened with the supplier up there. I think they got a different bakery and they just don't, they're not going to carry something that they might end up not selling, so they don't carry it. Holy shit, cured your own ham? Well, I know one place that still makes poppy seed nut rolls. I'm too damn lazy to drive up there. On Warren Road, K&K Portage Meats. They have an in-store bakery, and they make, like, I could probably go in there tomorrow and maybe they would have a poppy seed or a nut roll still from Saturday, something maybe somebody didn't pick up. I'm trying to think what the hell the name of the ham was. My father had a friend that lived down south, and he said a Razorback ham or something, and the goddamn thing looked moldy. It looked disgusting. I remember my father unwrapped it, and I was like, "We ain't eating that shit." And he was like, "No, I gotta wash it." But it looked disgusting. But I'll tell you what, it was delicious. After he scrubbed it and did whatever, soak it, I don't know what the hell he did. Yeah, Razorback ham. I think that's what they called it. It came wrapped in a burlap bag. Oh, it looked disgusting. Matter of fact, when he opened the box, I says to him, "Oh my God, it's all fucking moldy. The guy sent you, oh jeez." And my father was like, "No. That's the way it is." I said, "I ain't eating that shit." And then he brine soaked it or something. I can't remember what he did. I know he had to scrub it. And then it was delicious. I couldn't believe it was the same ham. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. They look disgusting, don't they? They look like something somebody picked out of a dumpster. I can still remember him opening the box and then this burlap bag, opened it, and he went, "Oh, look at that ham." And I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody had the nerve to send you a fucking moldy ham? That guy don't think too much of you." He said, "Don't worry." And whatever he did, I never paid too much attention. I know he had to scrub it. But I can't remember if he said he had to brine it or he had to do something with it. It took us a couple of days before we could eat it. But man, that ham was almost like prosciutto. Prosciutto is dry-cured ham. Italian dry-cured ham. If you can afford prosciutto, oh my God. And people, you don't make sandwiches out of prosciutto. That's not the way you eat it. Because it's sliced paper thin and you wrap it around melon. My uncle was Italian. He taught me how to eat it. Because then you have the best of both worlds. You have the sweet melon and the salty ham. And oh my God, I could eat that by the pound. Except it's like, God, prosciutto is like $20 a pound. That and hot gabagool. Every now and then I get me some. I'll go up to the butcher shop, get me some hot gabagool, And you can tell they don't know what the hell. I'll say, give me a pound of that gabagool. And the guy's like, what? The gabagool. What? The Coca-Cola ham. Oh, okay. It's not pronounced Coca-Cola, it's pronounced gabagool. I can speak a little Italian. Prosciutto and gabagool. And I used to know how to swear in Italian, but been so long I forget. My uncle taught me a bunch of Italian swear words. Swear at somebody in Italian, they don't know what you're talking about unless they're Italian. But I'll never forget that. Give me a pound of gabagool, the hot gabagool. What? The guy behind the counter. What? The hot gabagool. The what? Oh, Jesus. The Coca-Cola ham. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Now, if I'm going to get prosciutto or gabagool, I go to the Italian meat store over off of 55th and Euclid. And what is it? 60 Gallucci's, about 69th and Euclid. I could drop $100 in that store easy. Between the prosciutto and the gabagool and a nice pepperoni stick, loaf of Italian bread, a handful of cannolis. I have to watch when I go into them stores. I think the last time I went to Gallucci's, between the gabagool and the prosciutto and the mortadella and the pepperoni and the bread, I think it was like $60. God, I haven't. Oh, geez, it's got to have been probably 10 years since I've been to Gallucci's. Yeah, you got the Italian store on Euclid, and on Broadway you got the Hungarian store. I remember one day I went to Kaiser's, and then I went to Gallucci's, and where else did I go? God, I can't think of the name of the store. 69th and Heisley, 63rd and Heisley off of Fleet. I blew $150 that day. Because down on 63rd and Heisley is the Polish meat store. And they got the best smokies on earth down there. So I get Polish sausage, I get my Hungarian sausage, then I get my lunch meat from Gallucci's. I looked at my wallet, it was empty. I can't do that no more. Yeah, the adult candy store. I walk into Gallucci's and I tell you, well, Kaiser's too. I tell them, give me about 5 pounds of the smell. Put that in a bag for me. God, Kaiser smells so nice when you walk in there. Oh. Walk in there and the aroma hits you and you order twice as much as what you were going to order. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be up at Family Dollar getting the discount Easter candy. Although, if you've noticed, a lot of the bag candy no longer has Easter on it. Because that way they don't have to mark it down. Anything that says Easter on it, they'll be marking down. Although maybe I'll go Tuesday. Because tomorrow they'll mark it down 25%. Then Tuesday 50%. And if there's anything left over Wednesday, it'll be down 75%. But you don't see too much bag candy that says Easter. Because they don't have to mark it down. If you want to get a bag of Kit Kats or a bag of Milky Ways, okay. The only thing Easter is usually like them crappy Easter bunnies. God, I remember used to get solid chocolate Easter bunnies. They'd be about this big. Although today, one like that would be about $60. And chocolate's going to go up again because of the tariff. So candy will be going up sky high again. God, can't even afford a candy bar today. $3 for a candy bar, it's about that big. God, I can remember back in the day, get a couple of candy bars and a bottle of pop for 20 cents. Really? Oh, those are neat. I had one once. I used to deliberately catch flies just so I could put it and watch the thing go. Those are the coolest plants. I bought one. I had it about a year and a half, and then I overwatered it and I killed it. But I would try to trap flies and then take them with a tweezer and then watch it go. Reminds me of that movie. Remember the movie? I can't remember the title of it. Feed me! Goddamn Venus flytrap plant was the size of a room, and the guy was killing people and feeding it to the plant to make it happy. Some horror movie I watched on Goulardi. Feed me. Oh, they are cool plants if you can keep them going. Like I say, I overwatered mine. I killed the son of a bitch. Oh, they're hilarious to watch. Because once the fly lands in it, it's sticky. So the fly can't leave. And then it closes. And then when the fly is all gone, it opens back up. They are oh God. Yeah, I used to catch flies. Hold them by the wings. Yeah, there, Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. Feed me. The plant got bigger and bigger. The guy had that little Venus and he cut his finger that time. And the plant was like, so he was cutting his fucking fingers to drop blood in it. And then it got to be the point he was killing people. That big ass goddamn plant. Feed me. Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, oh my God. Your memory's a lot better than mine. I remembered the big Venus flytrap plant. I couldn't remember the name of the fucking movie. Good old Gallardi. Between that and Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love that movie too. Did you ever really watch Gallardi? I used to love it when they would dub him into the movie. Like they'd be in a cave, and Gallardi be, this way, no, not that way, this way. Oh, the Blob. Yeah, and the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. It was amazing how she grew and her clothes grew too. How did that happen? You would think she would grow and her clothes would be same size. No. The Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. And remember the movie Them? That was the title of the movie, Them. You remember that one? That little, 10-year-old girl, Them. And you'd hear a noise like a chainsaw. Them. They were giant fucking ants. Them. Oh, he had some of the stinkiest movies, but it was hilarious, especially when they would dub him in there. He'd be like, no, this way, no, it's over that hill, no. And then the big ant would come over. And Gallardi would be like, come on. Oh, the crazy shit they used to do. All B movies. He never had any good ones. They were all B movies. Some were C movies. They were so bad. But people watched him. Friday night, people were glued in front of their TV to watch Gallardi. Oh, that was with what? Tippi Hedren. Wasn't it? The Birds? Tippi Hedren? and the Bates Hotel. That was one of the birds. That was a brainchild of Hitchcock. Man, that guy could make some movies. He had a very inventive mind for the day. Like when they were filming the shower scene in Bates Motel, because the movie was in black and white. And they couldn't get the blood right in the bathtub. And then Hitchcock came up with the idea how to get the blood in the bathtub right. I told you that trick. I mentioned it once before. Because the only thing you saw was the water running to the drain. And they experimented with a whole bunch of shit. And you remember what the secret was for the blood in the shower? Hitchcock used chocolate syrup. That was his brainchild, chocolate syrup. That's how he got the blood scene in the bathtub.
Traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Sick idiot like me would have that one in my music. I've got to get, I can't remember which one of my fire tablets. I'm going to have to charge them both up. One of them I got a bunch of old movie music in. I didn't put too much in this one. Let's see, what else have I got in here? I don't think there's too much in here. Oh. Here's one from Gallardi. Remember that one? Gallardi used to love playing that one. Come on. I think that's the last of my. No, not that one.
But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's all I've got in the. No. Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. Yeah, good old Seinfeld. Festivus for the rest of us. Get the Festivus pole. I did that one year. I had a Festivus pole. Everybody kept telling me, when you gonna finish setting your artificial tree up? I said, it is set up. Well, there's no limbs on it. I said, it's a Festivus pole. He said, what the hell's Festivus? Well, I guess you didn't watch that show on Seinfeld, did you, that night? You missed that one. Yeah, that's about. Well, I got one more. We'll end with that one tonight instead of my usual. Yeah, I got one more show theme song because I've already played Hitchcock's and I played Backdraft. Yeah, that's just one more. One of the fire tablets has got a whole bunch of show theme songs. I hope I didn't delete them. Ooh, maybe I did. One of the fire tablets, I knew I did a reset. Oh, God, I hope I didn't blow all my show themes away. Took me forever to download them. Although I can get a lot of them off of YouTube. I think I'll have to look on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half long. It's just loop after loop after loop of show. I had to go through them and pick the ones that I wanted. I spent like all day downloading music theme songs. And then you get copyright struck. If you go on Facebook, Now, I'm not sure if everybody can see it, but when my show gets put up on Facebook, like right now, it should be recording to Facebook, I get a notice that says in some countries, like my 20th century theme song, my start music, it's still copyrighted in some countries, so it's blanked out. So that I play it and it's just dead air until it's over. And then you start hearing me. But you don't hear the entry music because in some countries, like what country? And I forgot again to message Jenny. Although I took the note down. That's why. I took the note down and then I forgot to message her. Who was going to message her for me? Was it Nomad or Wyatt? Who was going to... Somebody was going to message Jenny for me. I'm going to have to tomorrow morning for sure because it's been like a week now we haven't heard from her. And that's kind of worrying me. Evidently, whoever was going to Nomad, he must have forgot. He must have got busy. It was good seeing him last night. I knew he would. I could have almost bet my Social Security check on it after I said, well, I guess he abandoned me. I knew he'd be in. Poked the bear a little bit. But it was good. Man, we had a crowd last night. The only one we were missing was Jenny and Mears. It was a fun group last night. And who is Oodles of Toodles? I don't know who that is. I mean, I'm glad to see a new person, but I don't know who that is. Oodles of Toodles. It was nice seeing the new name, but I have no idea who it is. But yeah, we had Nomad in here and Wyatt. And Oodles of Toodles or whatever. Now see, I was thinking it was female. Because I can't picture a guy with the name Oodles of Toodles or whatever. Although, on here, could be any. But it made for a hell of a fun group last night. Really made my evening. And hopefully my backgrounds will be here in a week. Because both of them are red. One of them has the news desk will be like right in the middle. And then the other one will be from like this side. Yeah. The news desk in the one will be like behind my head. And then the other one is as if this is spun around and there's more over here. Like somebody spun the studio around. So I'll have three red ones. But the one with the news desk that's behind my head, that one is sharp. I like that one. And then the other two, although it figures, I found one more to go with the two goofy ones I ordered. I found a third one. The only problem is it's $7 and I ain't paying $7. I'm hoping I can find one cheaper. But it's almost like a 3-piece set. I'm going to have fun with those 3. Yeah, I've got the two red ones, and then I'll just say the 2 green ones. But then today I found a third green one to go with the first 2. And that one I like the best out of the 3. And it's $7. It's like $7.86, and I ain't paying that. But as soon as I saw it today, I was like, oh shit. It's in my shopping cart. If I can't find one cheaper, I'm going to be forced to buy that one. But I hate paying that kind of money. I'll be up to like 40 backgrounds now. Jesus Christ. I've got to get them hung up. I've got to get them hung up. Although then I got to take all this shit down first. Because it'd be a lot easier just to flip them over. And then have them all in one spot. Right now they're all folded up in bags. I got hooked on these goddamn backgrounds. But the 2 green ones. But the third one I found today, I was like, oh God, yes. But I'll have fun with the other 2. Every time I look, I find a new one. But I had to get the other 2 red ones. I had to get them because they'll all match. But like I say, the news desk will be like right behind my head, and there'll be more on the sides. And the third one is as if somebody took and spun the studio around. So it'll show more over here. I like them. Matter of fact, I like this red combination. I have to experiment with the lighting. Because, like, over here, I got to tone that down just a little bit. And then I have to get a different light for over here to illuminate the ceiling like this one. I got more goddamn lights. Jesus. I'm going to have to experiment. Get it figured out before I get the other 2, and that way I'll have the lighting just right. Oh, wait until you see the one with the the news desk that's going to be right behind my head. That one is even sharper than this one. I really like that one. Not to mention it was only $2. Yeah, $2 for that one and $1.80 for the third one. And then I found the two green ones, which were like $2.10. And then today, I find the best one out of the three, and it's $7. So I'm hoping I can get it at a reduced price. Because it is neat. Oh, God, is it? It's hilarious. The only problem is, once the shock value wears off, it's going to be kind of boring. But for the initial shock value, it will be well worth it. And with that, I think it's time to shock myself into some dinner. Where's my stylus? Okay, what was I going to play for outro? Oh, you'll pick this one right. You'll recognize this one right away. What was that one? That one was an easy one. That one's an easy one. Especially if you watch TV on Sunday night. You mean I stumped you with another one? Oh boy. I gotcha. God, I figured you'd nail that one. You give up? Theme from Bonanza. God, I figured you'd have got that one instant. All right, what are we gonna... Okay. We're gonna play a real easy one for the outro tonight. No, not that one. This one. And with that, we will meet again tomorrow night. And you can guess the two of them tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your Easter evening. See ya.